Mind reading and mind control technologies are coming, says the Scientific American. In the Scientific American, we see the article, Mind reading and mind control technologies are coming. We need to figure out the ethical implications before they arrive. The ability to detect electrical activity in the brain through the scalp and to control it will soon transform medicine and change society in profound ways. Patterns of electrical activity in the brain can reveal a person's cognition, normal and abnormal. New methods to stimulate specific brain circuits can be used to treat neurological and mental illnesses and control behavior. In crossing this threshold of great promise, difficult ethical quandaries confront us. Mind reading. The ability to interrogate and manipulate electrical activity in the human brain promises to do for the brain what biochemistry did for the body. When you go to the doctor, a chemical analysis of your blood is used to detect your body's health and potential disease. Forewarned that your cholesterol level is high, you are at risk of having a stroke, you can take action to avoid suffering one. Likewise, in experimental research destined to soon enter medical practice, just a few minutes of monitoring electrical activity in your brain using an EEG and other methods can not only reveal neurological illness, but also mental conditions like ADHD and schizophrenia. What's more, 5 minutes of monitoring electrical activity flowing through your brain while you do nothing but let your mind wander can reveal how your individual brain is wired. Tapping into your wandering mind can measure your IQ, identify your cognitive strengths and weaknesses, perceiving your personality, and determining your aptitude for learning specific types of information. Armed with the ability to know what a person is thinking, scientists can do even more. They can predict what a person might do. The ability to control electrical activity in brain circuits has the potential to do for brain disorders what electrical stimulation has accomplished in treating cardiac disorders. But the prospect of mind control frightens many, and brain stimulation to modify behavior and treat mental illness has a sordid history. The military is using this method to speed up learning and enhance cognitive performance in pilots. This is the bird's eye view, and here's what you've been missing. Okay, welcome back. This is our part 2 episode about the book Matrix Deciphered. In our previous 2 videos, and if you haven't seen them, you probably will want to. We talked about what was created that the CIA and the Department of Defense are actually using today, which was Tammy, Mind, and Satan. And also they have another system called Tempest. We talked about how it works. We talked about what to do if you're targeted. We talked about how to know when you're being targeted. We used a bunch of different examples of how that happens, and we talked about the science behind it. And now today we're going to talk about information warfare, because even though they can physically clone your brain and they can have other people linked to your mind, putting their thoughts into you, they cannot really take you down unless psychologically they can mess with you. And so we talked in our previous video about the psychological warfare of what they're trying to do now is influence people around you to influence you. That was their next step in their matrix that they were trying to create for total control. We know that nanobots and AI are another way they're going to amplify this control within human beings. But the information warfare, this is the most important part, because if you don't know the truth, that they say the truth sets you free, right? So you have to know how you're being lied to. So we're just going to talk about some disinformation tactics that he mentioned in the book, and I found it pretty interesting. So check out what we got. Disinformation streams. Dating back to early cartoons, one can remember images of the mad scientist transferring consciousness of people or animals with people. This theme is pervasive throughout popular cartoons and TV programming. It is always spoofed with absurdity that the idea is science fiction. I found we investigated EEG heterodyning using electrodes and electrostatic plates and hats to read brain waves and write them to someone else. This mind control pursuit is very old indeed. Cartoons have been used to discredit the science and anyone who speaks about it. So we have a lot to talk about, but before we continue, you might want to like and subscribe to the channel and potentially watch those previous 2 videos, because it does go in kind of like a sequence of everything that they've done. So then you'll understand this section better as well. So based on what the FBI has utilized for the past 50 years, the best secrets are hidden in plain sight, and no one will see it. I will speculate that there is no reason that cartoons should be the first media to describe real top secrets and spoof in absurdity. Bioelectric communication signals are a very real active area of research throughout the world. Even a recent cartoon called Wallace and Gromit portrayed this conspicuous swap with a rabbit and a human as science fiction. The Department of Defense never changes their methods even after 60 years. The best kept secrets are hidden in plain sight. Okay, so I think you guys all know about memes, and that's actually a type of information warfare. Memes are an incredible way to get a certain message across that visually you don't have to say very much. You just say a few things and psychologically we're affected by it. So error propagation cannot be achieved through mnemonic warfare, social engineering, but also directed electromagnetic entertainment and programming of the brain. This is where social media comes into play. Right? Social media, DARPA, it is a mind control apparatus. The mission of the CIA and Psychological Operations Information Warfare Unit, INSCOM, INSCOM, and many other divisions that practice strategic deception, they need to eradicate for good of the country and planet, for they are too programmed and influenced by the very errors that they create in the self-fulfilling spiral of self-destruction. These agencies are a tool that have turned on the tool makers and users, part of the disinformation campaign for mind control victims. So the problem is they've created a monster. They themselves are victims of this mind control and they don't realize it. They perpetrate this onto more and more people. They intentionally put false information in different sources like fake news, right? Fake news, to where you cannot tell what is real or correct anymore. That is a type of disinformation campaign that has been going on for a very long time. Edward Bernays was doing it. Many other people are doing it. They will take something that is intentionally bad for you and make it look like it's good, cool, popular, whatever you want. And all of it is to harm the person or put them under mind control. And so that is what, unfortunately, that is what our social media is doing to us. It's a social programming tool. So, for instance, you don't like a certain thing and you mention it in social media and you get attacked because you don't like something. After a while, you feel hurt because you were attacked by all these different people, including your friends, and you start to change the way you think. You start to go, well, okay, fine, maybe I will listen to rap music, even though I don't really want to listen to rap music, but okay, maybe because everybody thinks it's so cool, you start to slowly change your tastes, your morals, what you think is right and wrong. This is social programming, and they do it with disinformation. They're intentionally putting out things that will get people on the wrong track so that they'll follow trends that they want them to follow. And this is done and has been done for many years. While scalar waves are a real concept, they are nothing new, right? So by having us, think that scalar waves are this is a mystical thing. That's not. That's a clear example of disinformation, of letting people think that it is something when it's not. So you can completely shape scalar and amplitude modulations of a carrier frequency in 3 space. It is not such a big deal. Their connections with mind control technology is merely a way to pinpoint a human target, keep a lock on him or her, finding ways around the most shielding attempts through a total hemisphere of attack angles, as well as tracking multiple targets around the world. So scalar waves in connection to energy weapons are simply the energy they're using to pinpoint someone with radar.
Ionospheric heaters use this D layer in the ionosphere. Notice it only forms in the daytime when the sun is up. At nighttime, it disappears completely. So, at nighttime, the ionosphere is 170 miles up, and the ionospheric heaters cannot control the jet stream with that being so high up. But in the daytime, it's only 30 miles up. So here's a look at the hardware that's actually working out in the Pacific to destroy hurricanes and push warm air into the Arctic. This is the SBX-1 main transmitter unit, and off on the left here you can see it's not a little doll or Barbie figure, it's a grown man. This is a really huge, terrible piece of hardware. That giant flat plate array transmitter is placed inside of a fabric radome, and this is a picture during assembly inside the radome. Each one of these little wedges is a transmit-receive module which transmits about 200 watts. So there are 45,000 transmit-receive modules, and this antenna can detect an object the size of a baseball at a range of 2,500 miles. That is why I say this thing can project all that power into a pinpoint beam, totally computer controlled. The dome is 120 foot diameter. It's PVC, transparent to microwaves. The power source is 3.6 megawatt generators for a total of almost 22 megawatts. And this HARP platform has a tow ship to move it around. So that 22 megawatts is not actually designed to go into the engines. That is designed to go into the transmitter unit. Other U.S. Navy ships have powerful microwave transmitters. This is the U.S. Navy ship Howard O. Lorenzen. It looks small, but it's actually 534 feet long. Each phased array, the boxes on the top of the deck, is a phased array transmitter. Synthetic aperture radar, whatever you want to call it, weighs 250 tons. And there's a crew of 88 on board. This is a gigantic ionospheric heater, again, in a different format.
So, I mean, we've seen sonar, radar. We know that they can track things, and it's the same thing. They're following your signature. And the only thing about scalar waves is that they can track you anywhere. And that's why those Faraday cages don't work. That's why. So, it's pretty interesting. So then a publication by the FDA doing a comprehensive food sanitizing method survey had many military representatives on board. The paper commented on how there were almost no literature on microwave effects. A paper on implementing a small piece of wire in the head or body for a biotelemeter commented on how they could find almost no data on such obvious applications. We are bathed in microwave energy. How come there is so little independent investigation in this area, especially in light of the fact that the head acts as a microwave? It's a cavity, and neurons and microwave transceivers. There are earth-shattering patents from the 70s and 80s on brain wave amplification, brain wave reading at a distance, brain wave modulations using a wide range of frequencies. How is this being ignored? It's pretty obvious what's going on. So, this is the type of research that people should be looking at, but instead they're chasing scalar waves, when really they should be looking at microwave waves, and something that's a little bit more like it's directly applicable, to us. So that's what they mean about disinformation, right? Purposefully leading us down the wrong path to the wrong conclusion, and we're totally missing the big elephant in the room of what is really controlling us. And I would say that that's smart. Okay, that's how you hide something in the open. And it's interesting that it was at an FDA thing that they had scientists there, because they don't want this information getting out, so they would be able to restrict whatever basic information people were talking about. And that's pretty interesting. So then it says right here, through my protected sources, I was told that government weapon testers look for brain waves that show 3 traits that they want. One is an amplification factor of neurons often found in dopamine excessive brains. This group has traditionally been known as psychosis. The other is a brain entrainment inducibility indicative of a high susceptibility to hypnosis, so you can be hypnotized easy. And the third is the uniqueness of the brain waves to add to the database, which increases the effectiveness of TAMI for other people. Other factors for target selection include the discrediting or isolating of the the victim. Of course, being a disobedient politician or a government whistleblower will increase your chances of being thrust into the virtual hell and beginning your journey into madness. There are no other words for this program other than diabolical. So, from here, you can see that they target specific people, and those that are in the know, government, military, and if they just start to deviate from their mind control, they're obviously in mind control, and they start to question things, they then become targeted. That's why you hear of so many military people who kill themselves, who have post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. Come on, guys, PTSD. Now, I don't want to say anything about people who actually have it, but is it possible that some of this is being amplified over and over and over in their heads? You know, naturally, when a human being goes through a very bad experience, they will suppress the memory. But if you're someone who's constantly having these memories pushed back into your mind under PTSD and episodes where they just go psychotic, are we sure that it's not mind control? Right? Are we sure? That's the question I have. When I was reading this, was like, there are a whole host of applications as to how this could be affecting people. The other thing is, okay, we know that this all started with Project Paperclip and the Nazis. I mean, their ideology was to control man, to create the superior race. So they were digging in everywhere, and they were looking at ancient wisdom. We talked about the Egyptian study of the human brain. That's where they learned a lot of this stuff. And so that's what they were doing. Now, I will put this out there that it says in one of his things, he says, quote, "It is beyond experiment on the public. It is now a well-orchestrated takeover using just information weapons. The psychotronic concentration camps are growing rapidly. It is a matter of time before you are brain mapped, and then you wish you hadn't stayed so ignorant and quietly hoping it won't happen to you. The soul stealer is doing good business under the U.S. flag. I work on integrating HARP and Puerto Rico's ionic heaters that were often implicated in the World Mind Control Network, and I had no idea what they were used for. That's how secret this technology is. I was told they were command and control centers, but from those locations, the entire world can be viewed by bouncing their signals off the ionosphere in a configuration they call over-the-horizon radar. Satellites make better horizon sensors. So this is probably a tagline phrase to mean psychotronics. Okay, so we're going to stop there. That gave you a lot to think about. That's more about how they're using it, who they're targeting. And in our next show, we will talk about, we're going to talk about what the real agenda is. But I'll just leave you with one more thing here. Right? So this is something he put out here. What has worked the most is what they can bank on us is keeping us in the maze, right? So many people tell me to be careful and don't out the real players. Isn't this just like the Wizard of Oz, the little man behind the curtain? He is more afraid of you. So this is from this section called Foundation of Reality. The whole illusion of gentility and freedom relies on lifelong programming of image and repetitions of mantra, pledges, imagery, and anthems. Asking someone to imagine an alternate government system that was in place that is exactly the opposite to what people have experienced their entire lives is like asking someone to suddenly believe in another god. Their entire belief system and foundation of reality must be changed to accommodate the new model. Most are unwilling and incapable of this kind of reality shift without a direct demonstration. But in order to get the demonstration, the world permanently to become enlightened of the truth, they would not be able to go back to the blissful ignorance of the matrix of delusion. This is the catch-22. Most targets will find it futile to awaken others and will be viewed as crazy if they try. This is how the system of control is maintained, and drastically important information for people is suppressed. So I will end with that. I think it's safe to say that that is the biggest challenge to awakening people to the fact that we are under so much control in a way that we would never imagine. And the movie Matrix, maybe it's just an allegory, of what we're really in, is that you don't know your true reality because you're so thoroughly in it. And it would be super hard for you to break out of it. And I always remember Plato's cave, about how the one guy goes out, he sees what the world is really like. And the whole time, these other guys are sitting in the cave just looking at shadows of the outside world being played onto the wall of the cave. And they think that's reality. but reality is outside. But they've never been outside. They have no basis of understanding what's out there. So this is the struggle with awakening people to these things. But I think enough people are waking up now with actually they've experienced these things. When I say these things, I think a lot of people go, oh, I had something like that. So I think it's happened to more people than we know. And that's why if we get this kind of stuff out, it will help people break out of the feeling that it's just them or they're crazy. We can break out of that, basically. So that's all for my show today. We do have one more video coming out. This is the one where we talk about what they don't want you to know. So basically, there's myths that have been sponsored by the military. These are things they want you to believe in, and then there are things that they don't want you to believe in. So we're going to go over that in our next video because it's just fun exposing these things so that people know exactly what they don't want you to believe, and then you can look at it maybe in a different way and maybe dig deeper to find what is really going on there. So I hope you guys like that episode. Please like and subscribe to the channel. We're needing a lot of help to grow bigger and bigger. So if you could like and subscribe, hit the notification, watch some of our previous videos and share them with your friends. We really appreciate all the support. Nicole should be back next week, so I hope to get her on the show again. We'll have two girls chatting, and it's always fun. And I hope you guys learned something new. And of course, I'll link everything, including this book. This book is a very good read for those that want to get clarity on the type of technology and systems that have been set up in the United States for mind control. Okay, this is Tabitha with the Bird's Eye View. Hope you have a great day.